So this is my adding lead weights into my wooden fishing lure tutorial. Gonna show you guys how I do it from start to finish here. Go ahead and start out. All you need is your power drill and several different size drill bits. You don't have to do it the way I do. You can just try to use a big drill bit, but I've cracked lures like that before and I just don't really recommend it. So I like to use at least 3 or 4 different sizes. Go ahead and get things going here. I drilled 2 different holes in one like this because I like to distribute my weights. I like to get 2 up in the center basically, and then 1 a little further back. And you'll see throughout the video here that that's what we're doing. On this particular lure, I'm actually offsetting these holes just a little bit, just because the first hole is slightly to the left of my eyelet. So I went ahead and offset the second one. As long as you distribute your weight, pretty much evenly, that's what you're going for. And it's a handmade, home, custom lure, so I do want a little bit of irregularity to the movement. So there's the different size bits that I'm using. We're gonna go ahead and taper up a size here. Like I said, I'm gonna use 3, maybe 4 different sizes, just depending on the day. Just taper up from smallest to largest. Once you start getting into your second, third size drill bit, you're gonna have to go ahead and hit that hole with the drill bit running, otherwise it's just gonna bind up. At least if you got a cheap drill like mine, that's how it is. Nicer drill, maybe not have to deal with that issue quite as much, but you see, just kind of hit it while you're actually rotating there. Go ahead and strip that out a little bit. Be careful, be mindful of how deep you can go. Don't want to stab your hands, don't want to ruin your bait especially. Now you can see here I'm just using little lead split shot weights. I'm not melting them down. You don't necessarily need to for this purpose. You can absolutely melt them, pour them in. I just choose not to. Just the way I like to do it. Keeps things simple, keeps me from having to use a super hot pot and everything else. So yeah, this is how I do it. Clean up my holes here with the little jewelry pliers, make sure everything's nice and clean. And then we can just go ahead, add a few drops of Loctite super glue, which is what I use for all my fittings, all of my weight adds. Use it for everything. It holds together. You couldn't pull it apart if you wanted to. If you take a pliers after it's cured, if you rip that out, you're taking some lure with it, believe me. So it is definitely some sturdy stuff, and it dries quick, so you got to work with it fast. Go ahead and add this first weight in, and I like to make it, the glue's holding it in, but I also like it to be a friction fit. So I just make the hole barely big enough for me to be able to squeeze this in with the pliers. And, I probably could have channeled this hole out just a hair more, but like I said, I do like to get a good friction fit in there as well. So go ahead and jam this one in, and then we'll go ahead and add our next 2 weights as well. Like I said, we always add a few drops of super glue in before adding each weight, just to make sure it gets good and locked in there. All right, we're gonna go ahead and add our final lead weight here. Like I said, I like to do 3, 2 up inside the belly, closest to the center of the lure as I can, and then 1 a little bit further back, like I said, just to distribute that weight properly. You don't want to get weight too far back. It'll mess up the action of your lure. So this is about right. This is right where you want it, at least where I want it. from my short experience. I've only been doing this for a few months now, but it's something I'm super passionate about, something I've taught myself how to do, and I just absolutely love doing it. I say I taught myself. I've gotten a lot of guidance and help from some really great guys online, from a buddy here local who also makes baits, and so I've certainly had some help and some guidance along the way, which is greatly appreciated. Certainly wouldn't be where I'm at without tips and pointers from those guys, so shout out to them. Let's see. Yeah, so now this next process, I go ahead and just add a couple more drops of super glue on top. This is super important. This is how I like to do it. It's just simple. I always save some sawdust from prior projects in a little Ziploc baggie there, keep it dry. Add some drops of glue, add some sawdust on top here. Go ahead and smooth that, smash it down with your finger. And then we'll go ahead and add a couple more drops, little bit more sand on top. I say sandpaper, sawdust, whatever it is. You know what it is. Sawdust on top of here. And then we'll just go ahead and sand that down with multiple grits of sandpaper to get back to the smoothness that we were originally at on this thing. I like to get super smooth. I like it to be a very nice painting surface, so I always take it down with 320 grit sandpaper and go for just a very nice finish. Like I said, here we go, add a couple final drops just to get it a good, you want it to bubble up out of the lure just a hair, that way you're sanding back down too flat. Get a nice finish that way. Once you rub your finger over it, you can't even tell it's there. You'll be able to visually see it until you lay the base, until you lay your base paint down, but you won't be able to feel it. Perfectly smooth. All right, y'all, let's take it home here. Let's go ahead, get this bad boy sanded down, looking pretty. I usually start with 120 grit sandpaper and then work my way down, like I said, all the way to 320 grit for the final finish. It's just what works for me. I know that's what works for another guy that I talk to a lot, super helpful, and he's making top of the line baits that I hope to be able to make someday. So if that's what he's doing, I assume that that's got to be right. And then, like I said, that's what works for me. It really does give me a beautiful finish on these things. Like I said, I'm self-taught. I've only been doing it for a few months, but I've come a long ways. I think I make some beautiful work, and I'm looking forward to getting it in some folks' hands this spring, and looking forward to seeing what these bad boys can do. If you're watching this video and you think, hey, I'd love to try to fish one of this dude's baits, please don't hesitate to reach out, shoot me a comment, message, we'll work something out. I'd love to speak to you, especially my guys out there doing fishing content. I'll send you guys a free lure all day long, so holler at me, get one in your hands, just shout me out once you start slaying hogs with it, and I look forward to it, guys. Like I said, it's going to be an awesome spring. I hope you'll like and follow, subscribe, just follow us along the way, see what we're doing. We're going to do some cool stuff and catch some hogs and get that new personal best in the spring, y'all. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for the love and support. And like I said, I just really appreciate y'all. Go ahead and show you what it should look like on the final results here, and God bless.